Hello, everybody. Aleya here, and Deb is joining us. She is a practitioner on the Seven Cups of Consciousness platform, and she has been studying with me for years. And over the last few years, has now been going through an intensive practitioner training coaching course. And she is an incredible practitioner working with people in a really unique and different way. And we're just going to take some time to explore the layers that Deb has mastery of and what she loves to do. Deb, again, thank you so much for being here with me today. So, I want to start with the first question of telling us a little bit about you, your background, what brought you to the Seven Cups, different education aspects that you have delved into in your life.
I got started as a clairvoyant because actually I had stomach issues and ended up working with this woman who just seemed to know so much about energy and also about kind of like how that affected the body. And I'd had those problems for a long time, and I just started working with her, and almost immediately I started to feel different. And so I started to become aware of the fact that, hey, this isn't just physical, this is energy and it can move. And so that was nearly 30 years ago. And through my time working with her, and then becoming a massage therapist. So as a massage therapist, I learned a lot more about energy. I learned a lot more about bodies. I also found out how empathic I am, in that someone would come to me, I'd put my hands on them, and I know my body would know. I would know, my body would know right where that pain started, and had the technical ability to be able to work the muscles and the tissues to move it. On the other side of that empathic side is I would also take their pain on, and even with the energetic tools that I had before, I would do my energy work and I would lift it off, but it wasn't complete. And so that kind of drove me back to my old expertise, which is I'm an accountant. And I got to really deeply delve into the work of the Seven Cups of Consciousness, because I was supported, and I could learn these tools because I was just so like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to bring to the world. Something else that I've been very aware of pretty much my whole life is spirit, but I wasn't raised with any religion. So there wasn't really anything to talk about it. It was just kind of there. And where it would really show up is it would show up when someone would pass. And um, and I would just know that the person who had passed was not in their body anymore. Yeah, okay, they passed, they're not in their body, but they don't look the same. And there was something about that. And then I would actually go to a couple of funerals when I was younger, and I would like sense all of the spirits around me, the person who had passed, their families. It's like kind of like everybody's kind of out of their bodies. And again, no training. It was just these senses. And then when I was around 8 years old, my grandmother had cancer, and I was walking by her window the day before she passed, and I heard her say, "Everything's going to be okay," and it was just like right there. And then about a year or so later after that, we were saved, saved from basically a big car accident, because something happened in the car that we were in. So we stopped, and everybody said, "Well, that's his grandma." And it's like, okay, spirit outside, spirit talks. So I was like into it. Um, And years go by, and I start doing this work with the 7 cups of consciousness. And my father is ill, and and probably going to be passing soon. And I actually worked with you, Alea, on this, and we connected with him at the level of his higher self and his body Davis higher self, and found out how he was feeling. And it was like I could hear him, I could see him, and this is my father, and it was just like this joy. And then in working with him in this way and asking him questions at that level, he's and showing him, okay, this is what it looks like, or this is what it could look like for you to go to the next step, because you're not really wanting to be here anymore. And he's like, oh, okay. And it wasn't very long after that he passed. And the night the when that happened, his father came into my room and said hi and smiled at me. And I didn't hear anything, but I just knew. It's like, oh, my dad's gonna pass. And he passed the next day. um yeah. And so from that point on, from the moment of learning that he had actually passed, I was there to support him in his next step. And he was overjoyed. I could see him in his space. I could answer questions for him. I could make requests for him, because oh my gosh, with this work is amazing how you can make requests for beings on the other side, and the instantaneous manifestation. And it's just like, and so I decided from that point on that I was going to really delve deeper into this and do this as my work.
Beautiful. That was an incredibly powerful and beautiful story that you just shared about you and your dad and your awareness of these different dimensions and being able to so connect clearly and hear him and hear his questions and be able to answer him and soothe him when he did transition. That's incredible. And I've witnessed you do this with other people, and it's just such an incredible, profound gift that you have of being able to access these realms that are often hidden or invisible to so many. And with all of this work, actually, what is it that's shifted inside you the most with all of these tools and these concepts that you've been practicing?
Thank you, Alea. I would say that what's shifted inside of me is how much more deeply I am into myself. Becoming aware of my divine line, becoming aware of my body deva, and becoming aware of that separation, and also having a consciousness, body deva having consciousness, and myself as soul having consciousness, and then that deep, deep, deep connection. Has it be that I can be more aware of what's inside of me than what's outside of me, because of being so empathic. That's it's a lifesaver.
Huge, huge. And it creates a really strong field when you hold more of that awareness inside.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that piece is that's a miraculous piece, because it's like getting deeper inside, taking those deeper breaths, like really doing the practice of just being deep inside. Has it be that I'm safe? And safety safety was my big, big thing.
It's huge. It's huge. Beautiful. With the work, the tools, the concepts, the 7 cups, using the energy fields, how would you explain this to somebody who has no concept of any of the 7 cup concepts, how to work with their energy fields? Maybe they don't even know what an energy center chakra is. How would you explain what we do,
Wow.
what you do?
Um, I think I would take them to their body and their body's senses, and and ask them, what are they feeling, like physically feeling, and ask them if, have you noticed that you have this particular feeling, like maybe a cramping stomach or something, like before something happens, and or something that has happened, and it doesn't like, it's not really making any sense that it would be food. It's not food. It's like, no, it's like, that's energy. That's you them possibly feeling someone else outside of them. And then from that place it starts to bring this awareness of, oh, okay. And then to begin from that place, and then to talk about, consciousness, and then having the next step would be that you're a multidimensional being, and that, like, I'm a what? It's like, yeah, you don't just exist here in the physical realm. You exist in multiple realms. And that, if someone is open to the beginning of that conversation, then it just blossoms from there.
Beautiful. Very cool. And you have this incredible skill set of being able to perceive these other dimensions, tune into beings that are about to transition or have transitioned or in the process of it. Also, too, you're really good at setting up the energy for people who are going through a procedure, surgery, dental cleaning, hip replacement, knee replacement, whatever it might be, and creating a really safe container for that process. With these skill sets and these gifts that you have, how do the tools, the seven cups of consciousness and the protocols, how do they support you in expressing this gift of yours?
Well, as soon as you said protocol, my very first thought was practice. So protocol is a practice, and practicing something over and over and over again, like, makes it rote. It happens, and
Yeah,
and
builds a muscle
there's
memory.
safety in that,
Yeah,
right? And it
yeah,
builds a muscle. Yes,
very cool. Also, to safety, right? You mentioned safety and how it's such a big thing for so many. Have the 7 cups helped you create safety in navigating these realms and connecting with people who are literally in transition? Because that can be actually pretty scary.
absolutely. Great question. Being in my divine line is like, it's like, I liken it to the elevator in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It's like, it's a glass elevator and a glass shaft, so it's like you can see through everything, but yet you got all those buttons, and so you can push them, but you stay in that shaft, and it's like you're safe in that space. And the more that you recognize, the more that I've been recognizing my gifts, my wisdom, my mastery, and that they are all inside that same space, it's like, it's all here, it's all right here, I'm safe here, and I can do my work from here. I'm see, clairvoyantly. And in the past, I would jump around and travel around, and see that way. I would go to the place and see it, come back. I actually would jump in people's heads and come back. It's like, I don't do that anymore. The 7 cups of consciousness has really shown me how to stay in my divine line.
Very cool. And then you hold this incredibly strong, coherent field and don't get attached to other people's journey, but hold a safe space for them to have their process.
Yes, yes, and not being attached and learning about returning responsibilities. That is a really big piece. It's been a big piece for me to return energetic responsibility, learning that returning that responsibility is someone's fuel, so for their growth and their evolution, and also to be able to do that same work on the other side with people on the other side. Um, Guiding them, showing them, calling in their guides, their advisors, and working with them so that they can start to do that work on the other side, and, you know, really clean things up for themselves, but at the same time, they're cleaning things up for people who are here
Yeah.
in the, in the physical realm.
So cool. So beautiful. Yay. And it's really interesting because, I've been doing this work for almost 30 years, actually, maybe a little more than 30 years. And this is kind of unprecedented for me to have spent the last few years training up a handful of practitioners, you being one of them, and having all of you be on the platform, aleyadao.com, that I've been slowly building since 2004. And it's I'm so excited that you are on the platform of the aleyadao.com and can start helping people who have experienced loss or who are going to be experiencing loss with their loved ones, with their pets. I mean, it's just a huge service that can really alleviate a lot of grief and angst and fear and worry, and also soothing to people who have lost their loved ones and are so desperately wanting to reconnect, but in a healthy way where they're not going to get negatively empathically impacted. And so I'm just a little curious, and when we'll finish with this one, but how does it feel for you to be on the aleya.com 7 Cups of Consciousness practitioner platform?
Dream come true. I
Yay!
mean, to have your support, to everything that's on the AleyaDao.com platform, all of your work, all of the cups, the tall cups, your music, and it's like it's like being in a galactic library. It's wonderful.
Love it. Well, it is an incredible honor to have you in the Galactic Library with me. And thank you so much for the courage to embrace this journey and to help others in this terrain. Thank you, Deb.
Thank you, Aleya.